Hello and welcome to round 6 of Battle of the Decades Season 2, the show where I take the best selling albums of each year in the UK and feed them through the Battle of the Decades tournament format to find out what was the best decade in music. So a quick recap of the rules. Firstly, no albums from the 1960s will be admitted, as the selections are based on factual sales data and such data is notably unreliable from that era. Secondly, albums will now get 10 points for each of their ranking positions and stars of their star rating. For example, if an album comes in first place out of 5, it'll get 50 points. If it also has a 5-star rating, it'll get another 50 points for a maximum total of 100 points. And on this episode, we're going to be throwing all the 5s into the ring. 1975, 1985, 1995, 2005 and 2015. So let's have a look at our Albums of the Year roster. From 1975 we have Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. From 1985 we have Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits. From 1995 we have What's the Story Morning Glory by Oasis. From 2005 we have Back to Bedlam by James Blunt. And from 2015 we have 25 by Adele. So now the battlefield has been prepared, let's be complete rankers and rank into the very fabric of time itself. This is Battle of the Decade Season 2, Round 6. Coming in last place, we have Back to Bedlam by James Blunt from 2005, which was the English Troubadours' debut LP, and it was a gigantic smash. Powered by the UK and US number 1 hit single Beautiful, Blunt dominated the airwaves and sent his album to the moon, with it becoming the biggest selling album of the 2000s in the UK, going 11 times platinum and ending up with worldwide sales of over 14 million. And what we have here is a typical 2000s singer-songwriter pop album that is loaded with acoustic guitars, pianos and obligatory trip-hop beats. It kind of sounds somewhere between Dido and Damien Rice in terms of style. Now, I'll say straight off the back that I just don't like James Blunt. I find his compositions and music style to be beyond bland. He's just so cookie cutter and lacks any type of charisma. But even more egregious than that is the fact that I absolutely hate his voice. It's nasally and whiny and just makes me want to slap the teeth out of his mouth. Although considering he was a British Army captain with actual combat experience, perhaps that wouldn't have gone well for me. But when combined with his saccharine paint-by-numbers lyrics, as seen on his breakout hit Beautiful, his voice and whole shtick becomes like nails on a chalkboard. I mean, I really cannot stand it. Something I find amusing and at least partially agree with is the quote from Mark Beaumont of the NME, who included the record on his list of the all-time best-selling albums in the UK that have no redeeming qualities whatsoever, labelling it the most whiny, nails-down-a-blackboard posh boy soul album in history. I've naturally used some of those adjectives in this review already, so I guess I more than partially agree with him. As for highlights, well no, that's too strong. As for tracks that don't make me want to indulge in violent murder, I suppose the track Tears and Rain gets a pass because of its easy to enjoy balladeering melody. The last 3 tunes on the record are also not awful. Billy has a sprightly chorus that jumps out of the song a little. Cry is another easy ballad, and Closer No Bravery has a moody atmosphere lingering around it. But an occasionally tolerable tune just can't undo the horror of the C-tier Robbie Williams B-side sounding pap of Opener, High, the bizarrely paced and wholly unsatisfying Goodbye My Lover, which was inexplicably a massive hit, the nonsensical babbling chorus of Out of My Mind, which sounds like a baby experimenting with its first word, and of course Beautiful, which can fuck itself off the end of one of the Seven Sisters into a briny death on the rocks below. So yeah, Back to Bedlam ain't great. Is it the worst album of all time? No. But it is enough to officially petition to have the B and the L stripped from James's surname and replaced with a capital C. Yeah, we all knew that joke was coming at some point. 2 stars, which gives the 2000s a score of 30 points. Next up, we have 25 by Adele from 2015, which was the English pop singer's 3rd LP. And Adele continued her winning ways here, taking the album to number 1 in pretty much every country that listens to English music, breaking first week sales records and going 13 times platinum in the UK and 11 times platinum in the US. The record would go on to shift 23 million copies worldwide, becoming the second best-selling album of the 2010s, behind only her own previous studio LP 21, and also one of the biggest selling albums of all time in general. Aside from the gargantuan sales figures though, there's not really that much more to report. Adele continues on here much as she had done before. There's a bit more in the way of beats and touches of organs, but 25 is basically the same album as 21. The songs are all pretty much interchangeable. And much like her previous LP, 25 is pleasant to listen to as background noise but isn't exactly riveting when you get real close up to it. Adele remains a great vocalist, but her lyrics still say nothing to me about my life. Stick it on while I'm playing FIFA Soccer with the TV volume down and I'll be a happy chappy though. Unless I'm playing against Erling Haaland. That kid sure can tuck him away. Anyway, highlights from a decent yet not particularly earth-shattering release includes Send My Love to Your New Lover, which has a great pickup in the chorus that makes the track more dynamic and memorably catchy. The lurching drums on I Miss You make the track stand out a bit within the tracklist. Million Years Ago is undeniably beautiful with its classically picked guitars and superb vocal exertions, while All I Ask has a whiff of Stevie Wonder about its grandiose balladry. The rest of the songs though fall into that prototypical Adele groove. There's nothing bad about them exactly, but there's also nothing new. The entire record is about as unsurprising as finding an unflushed log in a Starbucks restroom. So yeah, when all is said and done, this album shakes out as alright. If you're coming specifically for Adele, then this is probably exactly what you'd be after. And I guess there is a certain reliability in that. In relation to Adele's own work, for me this is on par with 21. It's no better, but it's no worse. So I'm giving 25 the same rating as I gave that, 3.5 stars, which gives the 2010s a score of 55 points. Next up we have What's the Story Morning Glory by Oasis from 1995, which was the Britpop icon's second LP. And this saw the band at the peak of their powers, breaking first week sales records, spending 10 weeks atop the UK albums chart and eventually going 17 times platinum. It also spawned 4 top 10 singles, including 2 number 1 hits via Some Might Say and Don't Look Back in Anger. Crazily though, What's the Story Morning Glory was not actually the best selling album of 1995 in the UK, it only came in second place. Topping the 1995 album sales mountain was actually the self-titled debut by Robson and Jerome, who were riding a wave of popularity off the back of their hit TV show Soldier Soldier. But as I stated in the rules during the intro, I'm disqualifying cover albums, which thankfully kicks both Robson's and Jerome's ass off this list. Any complaints about that? Anyone? Anyone? Good. Soldiering on then. What's the Story Morning Glory didn't just catch Oasis at their commercial peak, but also arguably at their artistic one too. The band's debut, Definitely Maybe, was undeniably cool with its heaving brawn and wide boy swagger, but their follow-up was much more eager to please, full of great melodies and sparkly Britpop tunes. Whether you prefer the abrasiveness of Definitely Maybe or the more obviously commercial leanings of What's the Story Morning Glory, I think it's hard to deny that there's just not much in it either way. Personally speaking, I'm not a massive fan of the band, as their whole beer-swilling dickhead thing was just not my cup of tea back in the day. But boy oh boy, those first 2 Oasis records are still pretty fucking good. As for highlights, well, that would be pretty much everything. The album spews up nostalgic gold like a pisshead spews his guts after a bad Indian takeaway. The Status Quo knockoff Roll With It rolls your ass straight back to the Battle of Britpop, where it famously collided with Blur's Country House in a chart battle to the death. Wonderwall is arguably one of the most overplayed songs in history, but its nonsensical lyrics and sweet acoustic balladry still push those nostalgia buttons pretty hard. Don't Look Back in Anger is an unstoppable banger. These days it's so tied to Britishness and the feelings of hand-on-the-heart patriotism that it may as well be the country's national anthem. Plus it has one of the greatest drum fills in the history of music on it. Can anybody actually resist air drumming when it arrives? Semi-title track Morning Glory is rad with its wailing siren guitars and skyscraping chorus, even if it is literally about banging off a sly one before your morning cuppa. While closer Champagne Supernova is a 7-minute epic with a Beatles-esque melody to die for. But I'm just scratching the surface there, from the crunching rock of Some Might Say, to the lovely jangle of She's Electric, to the shimmering balladry of Cast No Shadow. It's all really excellent stuff that adds up to one of the definitive masterpieces of the Britpop era. 5 stars, which gives the 1990s a score of 80 points. Next up we have Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits from 1985, which was the band's 5th and most successful LP. And successful is definitely the operative word here, as the record went 15 times platinum in the UK and 9 times platinum in the US, eventually shifting 30 million copies worldwide, making it one of the biggest selling albums of all time. In the UK, it was the first album in history to be certified 10 times platinum, and also the first album to sell 1 million copies in the CD format. Jesus! And yeah, like what the hell, where the fuck did this album come from? Of course, I know that this is an incredibly famous record from an iconic band. Hell, I've even heard this in the background a handful of times, mostly while over at my uncle's house when I was a kid. But I did not expect Brothers in Arms to creep up behind me and mug me the way it did. Coming into this, I've just felt so cocksure that this episode would be a 2-horse race between Oasis and Pink Floyd. Shows what I know. Because yeah, this album absolutely slaps. It is rad. And here we find Dire Straits mixing their technically proficient, Americana-infused proggy laid-back rock with the cheesy climbs of 1980s pop rock. I mean, it shouldn't work, but it totally does. And I love everything about this record. I love its spacious, clean atmosphere, I love the relaxed, lazy guitar noodles, I love the overriding sense of creeping melancholy, I even like the super cheesy synthesized panpipes on Ride Across the River. They might be the most 1980s thing ever, but they really hit the spot here. And as for highlights, well, that would be everything. I love every track on this record. My cherry picks from a flawless tracklist though would include the surprising gentleness of Opener, So Far Away. The track's simple guitar riffs bolstering its enticingly mournful atmosphere. Money for Nothing is a lot of fun. The way it ramps up from its proggy intro into a slice of grooving robotic 1980s pop is fantastic. Walk of Life mixes elements of rockabilly and surf rock together for a jiving upbeat addition that features an iconic keyboard riff. Why Worry is a lovely ballad that thrives on Mark Knopfler's gorgeous yet understated guitar trills. The Man's Too Strong, meanwhile, has a great dynamic ebb and flow that makes the song pretty exciting. While closing title track Brothers in Arms is shockingly beautiful with its softly emotive Celtic melodies and languorously oaken guitar licks. So yeah, add into that the jazzy vibes of Your Latest Trick, the fun tour of 1980s cheesiness that is Ride Across the River, and the short sharp rock of One World, and you have an exceptional album that doesn't put a toe wrong. To be honest, I don't know all that much about Dire Straits, but I do believe my interest has just officially been piqued. I guess a full discography ranker will be on the cards in a not too distant future. But for now, Brothers in Arms is an easy 5 stars, which gives the 1980s 90 points. Coming in first place this week, we have Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd from 1975, which was the iconic prog rockers' 9th LP and follow-up to their legendary 1973 masterpiece, Dark Side of the Moon. At the time of release, Wish You Were Here was impressively successful, going 2 times platinum in the UK. Over time though, the record has gone on to much greater success, eventually selling over 20 million copies worldwide. Of course, that's a drop in the ocean compared with Dark Side of the Moon's numbers. But although Wish You Were Here can compete with its older siblings' commercial clout, it can compete with its quality. In fact, I personally would say that Wish You Were Here is Pink Floyd's best record, their ultimate masterwork if you will. Don't get me wrong though, Dark Side of the Moon was absolutely fantastic. That record is an unquestionable 5-star banger, but so is this. On Dark Side, a lot of the space was taken up with more ambient experimental texturing, and that's not a complaint. Indeed, those spacey textures and wandering musical passages are what gave the album its identity. But Wish You Were Here is more focused on delivering a more concrete and consistent set of songs that, while epic and lengthy, still mostly adhere to the general accepted format of a song, while parts of Dark Side definitely did not. Ultimately, there are 5 tracks on this album and all of them slap. There is simply no deadwood whatsoever on Wish You Were Here. The opening, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, parts 1 through 5, is a classic. Its long-form bluesy guitar passages and famous harmonic guitar riff sending it careening into the halls of prog rock perfection. The lyrics dedicated to the band's erstwhile ex-frontman Syd Barrett also hit a nice sweet spot. Welcome to the Machine kicks ass with its dark, mechanized science fiction vibes and static synths. Have a Cigar is a lot of funky guitar rock fun, its lyrics poking away at the fat cats and label bigwigs who only care about how much money their artists are raking in. Title track Wish You Were Here is another song dedicated to Syd Barrett, this time in the form of a tender, acoustic, country-tinged ballad. It has a lovely, lilting autumnal melody that brings a lot of warmth to a mostly cold and stark record. While the closing, mostly instrumental, Shine On You Crazy Diamond parts 6 through 9 wraps things up in a suitably atmospheric way. So yeah, Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here is a truly flawless album that belongs in the conversation of greatest prog rock album of all time. It is absolutely phenomenal and a must listen for all music fans. 5 stars, which gives the 1970s 100 points. So stop motorboating the tits of your best mate's bird and pay attention to the scoreboard. And things are staying pretty much stationary in this round. The 1970s remain in first with 550 points. The 1980s stay in second with 495 points. The 2010s cling to third with 365 points. The 2000s hang on to fourth with 325 points. While the 1990s clown around in last place with 280 points. And that's Battle of the Decades Round 6 of Season 2 and the bag. Of course, I know you'd rank these records differently, so why not sound off in the comments and tell me how you'd rank them. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and all that other kind of YouTube jazz. Make sure to take care of yourself, but most importantly, just keep on ranking.